Hello, fellow Americans. Welcome back to the All of Us podcast. If you're joining us for the first time, hi, I'm your host, Nathaniel Tavarez. And first of all, thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. Whether you're driving to work, walking across a college campus, sitting in your classroom preparing for the year ahead, or just taking a moment to slow down during your day, I am super grateful that you're here. Today, I simply want to have a conversation with you. No rush, no agenda, beyond one question that I believe has the power to change lives. I want to ask you something. Who was the most important adult in your life when you were growing up? Don't overthink it, but who immediately came to mind? Maybe it was your mom, maybe your dad, a teacher, a coach, a grandparent, a youth pastor, a school counselor, or maybe it wasn't someone you even saw every day, but someone believed in you when you weren't sure you believed in yourself. Now let me ask you another question. Who will answer with your name one day? See, I survived a school shooting back in 2014, and people often ask me about that day. They ask about the recovery, the surgeries, the challenges, the trauma, and while those questions do matter, there is another part of my story that I don't think gets talked about enough. See, I did not make it through because I was somehow stronger than everyone else. I made it through because I wasn't alone. I had parents who refused to stop believing in me, a brother and sister who kept encouraging me, teachers who were patient with me as I learned to navigate life with a visual disability, school staff who made accommodations, district leaders who cared, people who saw more in me than what I had happened to me. Looking back, I realized something. My life wasn't changed by one speech. It was changed by people. Not one program, by people. Ordinary people who kept showing up each and every day, whose encouragement led to something so much greater instead of indifference. These people reminded me that my story wasn't over. But there is another moment I've never forgotten about. One day I walked near a staff member's office, which they didn't know I could hear them, but they were talking to somebody else about me. They said, "He's never going to become anything. He is a wasted case of potential." And I'll be honest, that did hurt a little bit. Not because I believed it, but because someone had looked at everything I had gone through and decided my future had already been written. Maybe you've experienced something similar. Maybe somebody underestimated you. Maybe someone labeled you. Maybe someone decided your mistakes were your identity. Words do matter, more than we realize. But what happened next is what changed everything for me. The other person in that office stood up for me. They said, "You're wrong. He's going to become everything he dreams and more." I'll never forget those specific words. And I honestly couldn't tell you every conversation I've had over the years, but I do remember that one specifically because in that moment, someone chose to defend my future. Someone believed in me when I wasn't even in the room. And every time life gets difficult, every time I question whether I'm making progress, every time I wonder if the work is worth it, I remember those specific words. They still light a fire inside of me years later. Now, here's what I've learned. Students remember far less about what we teach them and far more about how we make them feel. A student may forget the lesson. They may forget the assignment. They may even forget your name someday. but they will always remember whether they felt seen, whether they felt safe, whether somebody believed they mattered. I think that's one of the greatest responsibilities any adult can carry, not because we're expected to have every answer, but because we may be speaking into a life that's hanging on by a thread. You never know what someone is carrying. You never know who's struggling with depression, who's thinking about hurting themselves, who's experiencing bullying, who's dealing with violence at home, who's questioning whether anyone would notice if they disappeared tomorrow. We don't know, which is exactly why kindness matters. Encouragement matters. Presence matters. Sometimes the greatest intervention isn't some elaborate program. Sometimes it's one conversation, one question, one moment where a student hears, "I believe in you." As a Christian, one thing I've always admired is how Jesus noticed the people everyone else overlooked. He saw worth where others saw weakness, potential where others saw problems. Whether you're a person of faith or not, I think we can all agree the world needs more of that. More people willing to notice, more people willing to encourage, more people willing to stand up for someone else's future. So here's my challenge for every person listening today. Teachers, parents, students, principals, bus drivers, school resource officers, neighbors, business owners, college students, literally everyone. As we prepare for school this upcoming year, choose to become the adult a student remembers for the rest of their life. Tell a student you're proud of them. Write a note, send a text, ask someone how they're really doing. Follow up when they say they're fine. Celebrate their effort, not just their success. Tell them what I wish every young person heard growing up, which is, no matter how hard life gets, keep pushing to become the best version of yourself. Chase every goal you can imagine and then dream even bigger. You are capable of far more than you realize, but dreams become reality through action. Keep showing up, keep learning, keep growing, keep believing. Because one day, the student you're encouraging today may become the teacher, the doctor, the entrepreneur, the first responder, the artist, the scientist, or the parent who changes countless other lives. That's how change happens. One person, one conversation, one act of belief at a time. Before we wrap this up, I'd love to hear from you. How can we continue to build schools and communities where every child feels safe? Safe from violence, safe from self-harm, safe from bullying, safe from addiction, and safe enough to become everything they were created to be. Share your thoughts with us, because this podcast isn't just my conversation, it's ours. That's why it's called the All of Us podcast. Because building safer schools, stronger communities, and brighter futures, it will never be the responsibility of one person. It belongs to all of us. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. Until next time, keep believing in people, keep building hope, and remember, the future of one child may be changed by the next words that come out of your mouth. Let's make sure they're words worth remembering.